Well, we're out here in snowy Northwest Ohio, searching for the DC superheroes Superman by Mattel. His last known whereabouts were over in the United Kingdom, and then he went to Mississippi back in the United States, and I've been led here. I've been trying to track this figure down for a very long time to be able to review him, and this is the last known location, but I can't believe he'd be here. We'll have to do some investigating. Come on, let's go. All right, we're going on. The last known location we have is somewhere in a forest. Be very careful. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what is that? Hear me. We gotta go. Stat. Answer me. Answer me. We gotta move. There's not much time. Who knows how long he's been out here? His flight must have been horrible. I got you. I got you. Oh. Move. Room, stat. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. Breathe, damn it. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. I don't know if we got to him in time. All we can do now is wait. If only I would have got out there sooner. Hopefully he'll recover and we can do the review on Rob's Rogues for the DC superheroes Superman by Mattel. Come on. You can do it. Live, damn it!
Rob?
Hello everyone and welcome to Rob's Rogues for this special edition of Rob's Rogues. I am part of the Richard Knepp project. And before I get started, Superman is doing just fine. As you can see, he had crash landed not far from my home, and I was tracking him down. He originally started his journey with Richard Knepp, who is the, excuse me, the owner of this figure. And then he left Pennsylvania from Richard's home, flew across the pond over to Stu Murray 47 in the UK, and then did an about face and went back across the pond to the United States again, to Mississippi, where Chapman Films is located, and then he kind of crash landed in the snow around my home here in Ohio, and I was tracking him down on my cell phone and was able to find his location, but as you can tell, he is doing just fine. And a little secret on the Superman in the snow in just a moment, but we'll get there. Richard has asked some of his YouTubers that he likes to watch review action figures if we would take a crack at reviewing him in our style, and so each of us could kind of get to see a favorite Superman from Richard, and this is one that he sent to Stu Murray 47, and Stu compiled a list along with Richard of YouTubers, so some of you out there may be getting Richard Superman to review and do it however it is that you normally review your figures. Like you probably saw the intro for me doing one. I just got lucky and had it to happen to snow here in Ohio as we're getting our big snowstorm right before Christmas, as this is about the 13th or 14th of December right now, so it gives you a little time frame. I've had this for a little bit. I did an unboxing from Chapman Films, if you go back a few videos, where Jason had sent me this Superman along with a few other things that he sent me, and just kind of as I thought I was at the end of my DC-UC collecting, Jason hooked me up. And he also hooked me up with my very own DC superhero Superman. And this was the actual Superman that was in the snow. So I was very careful with Richard's Superman. He has stayed in his plastic baggie, and this was the stunt Superman. So no worries there, Richard. This guy is in the exact same condition that I got him, and we'll go on to the next reviewer. This has been a Superman. Me being a big Robin fan, I think everybody knows that. But this was early on in Mattel as they were doing their 6-inch line, and it all kind of started and came out of the Batman 2003 line, and here's the Batman from that line, which would kind of graduate into like the DC superheroes line. Now the first figure I bought from this line was obviously Robin here, so you can kind of see the advancement that Mattel made in their sculpts slowly and surely as the line progressed. So you can see there's already the standard DC-UC figure is right here, but Batman and Robin did not have some of the extra articulation points that Superman and then the newer version of Batman would end up getting. I do have the Batman line went through a lot of different changes as I think Mattel was kind of figuring out what they were going to do. And one of the first like DC-UC, as we come to know, is this guy. I got him as a 2-pack with Batgirl, so it's really kind of cool that I can finally have this like first version of Batman that I have. It's in the DC-UC style with this Superman. So I think they look really, really good together. And I have the Legacy version. It's the black and gray, kind of the newer version of this body mold. I'm kind of torn between the blue and the gray and the black and the gray. I kind of grew up in the era of blue and gray Batman, but I've been really becoming a fan of the black and gray. But I kind of wanted to see the two of those there. So this is really cool that initially when I had Stu Murray had asked me if I wanted to be part of this project to review Richard's Superman, I was like, yeah, cool. And I've always wanted to see this Superman. And this Superman is always so pricey on eBay, especially if you try to get him mint on card. Forget about it. He's going to be 80 or 90 bucks depending on who the seller is. And Amazon's the same way. I really haven't seen him at a whole lot of conventions, and when I have, he's been a very pricey figure. And so it's really cool that I also now have one myself thanks to Chapman Films, so thank you, Chapman Films. But we'll take a look at Richard's here, as this is the whole point of this video, and this is just a great looking Superman. I've seen other people review this. Stu Murray 47 has reviewed it, the Review Spot. Countless people. I'm probably forgetting half of the people that have reviewed this particular Superman. And this was always one that I was like, man, I wish this was a Superman I had picked up. Because I saw this Superman plenty of times in my local Walmart or Toys R Us. And I was always doing one of those, oh, I'll get him later, oh, I'll get him later, and I never did. I actually had this Superman and the Clark Kent 2-pack in my hand, along with Batman and Batgirl, but I only had enough money for one, so of course, Batman won out. But I love this cape, and I love the material of this Superman cape. Which I do have some other versions, like I like to do comparisons and everything. Mattel went to this really hard, rigid cape for the DC Universe Classics figures, and I love this rubbery cape. It moves a little bit, and it is so long. Now, sadly, there is no S here. I think there should be an S on the back of Superman's cape, and I know some movies didn't have the S on there, but I think Superman needs to have the S. A nice bright yellow S, or in the new 52, the black S, which I really kind of like more than the yellow S. Sorry, Stu, if you're a yellow S fan, or Richard. But I like the way that it kind of drapes, and we kind of have this nice little opening in the back of Superman's cape. Get a little extra light down here, maybe. And a lot of these Supermen suffer from where the cape placement is, and this one is spot on. It looks like it's tucked in just like it should. the nice big S. This is one thing. I like a big S on Superman, but this particular Superman, I think the S is a tad bit too big for me personally. I like just a little bit of a smaller S. Now here is my first Superman that I have for the DC Universe Classics, and right away you could tell the big difference in it. Now this S is a little too small and too pointy. Now kind of looking at it, now that I've had this one in my hands, I think I'm leaning towards this S. It could be a touch smaller, but this doesn't quite look right. We'll get back to that in a second. It's all standard DC-UC articulation, and I know I always kind of gloss over it. You've seen one DC-UC figure, you've seen them all, and people only point out the sluttle. Superman is not a slut, unless he's kissing Wonder Woman. But anyway, the subtle differences. Just having that other Superman up here, maybe I'll bring him up again real quick as I'm looking at the paint. You can definitely tell they changed the paint scheme on the two Supermen. This one's a lot taller, but the way the cape is, it makes the cape shorter, and it kind of jets out, and it's this real stiff cape. But I gotta tell you, I like the bright red color from the DC Universe Classic Superman. This is actually my All-Star Superman, a first DC UC Superman that I had ever picked up. But just the reds on this one pop so much better, I think. It would have been cool. I like this suit. I'm kind of torn. This bright blue suit and the bright red on the boots and the cape and the trunks look really cool. But the muted blue does have that nice warm feel. It's not kind of as, bright blue. But I think the Superman probably could have had just a little bit more of this brighter red tinge. And I always just imagine Superman just being this bright, heroic character, and he looks a little muted in his color, but that's an easy thing to overlook in my book. The sculpting on this Superman is so good. I think they had a great sculpt for this Superman. The face, the neck, the head was done very, very well. I just would have recolored him in this color scheme when we get to the DC Universe Classics. I think it's one of those things, don't fix something that's broken. I think you can get to a point where you're trying to reinvent the wheel so many times, you get away from that perfect round wheel that you first created. And I think they had a perfect Superman on their hands in sculpt and cape and everything. The color palette could have been tweaked just a little bit, but the way he looks, this Superman, I think, on my shelf is now sadly going to kind of slip to the backside, and this guy is going to take prominence over that. So we'll slip the All-Star Superman out of the way. I got a little sidetracked on articulation. So this was one of the first sculpts to have the standard DC-UC articulation. Granted, the Batman line came before this, and the Batman-Superman line kind of rotated back and forth. They released a Batman figure, then a Superman figure. So you kind of got Nightwing, and then Supergirl, and maybe Steel, Doomsday, and you got maybe Robin in there somewhere. So, or it's Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc. So there was short little waves, but it was generally a Batman wave and a Superman wave, and it kind of rotated back and forth until they finally decided we're going to do the whole DC universe, and the rest, as they say, is history. But we will go over this Superman's articulation. He has a nice ball-jointed head, and he gets a good amount of articulation. The best out of any of the Superman that I have from Mattel. I just love how dynamic this head can be. The neck is cut just right, so you can see the hole underneath his neck, but he can look down. His Adam's apple is not getting in the way. He can look up, as Superman should be able to look up, like, there's something in the air, I must go. So, since we're on to arms here moving, the ball and socket arms, swivels at the bicep, bend at the elbow, and has a nice wrist articulation. A very good ab crunch. No loose ab crunch here. Does turn at the waist. Has the T split Jean-Claude Van Damme splits, and he can get a very good split there. Forward and back. Turn at the thigh, bend at the knee, and a bend at the foot. So you can get Superman in some nice dynamic poses, and I always like the pose where he's got one leg straight, and you know, you can get him in some great poses. Have the, you know, up and away. This cape is a nice soft plastic. I mean, you could put some nice toothpicks or something under there and get some movement out of the cape. I think the possibilities with this Superman are endless. Again, I don't know why they changed the overall design. You keep this body and then, you know, change the paint and go, well, the cape should be brighter, the blue could be brighter, and I think you would have had a perfect Superman. This is really close in my book. It's just the paint palette that I think is a little dull for this Superman. But like, again, that is forgiving over such a great sculpt. One thing that I've noticed on watching a lot of reviews of this Superman and always kind of kicking myself, he does have a wider stance here. And Richard's Superman does kind of suffer from that. It looks like his legs should be in a little bit more. I know the whole hot water trick could remedy that. But at the same time, get the arms spread out and maybe hands on the hips. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Kind of that big heroic stance that Superman can have. And it'll look really cool, but the way they kind of angle out is... I haven't seen a perfect Superman that stands perfectly straight from the DC superheroes line. But it's a nice broad-shouldered stance that he's going to look very powerful on your shelf. Since we've been talking about superheroes and DC collectibles, the next in the line far as Superman would go, let's get him to stand up here. We will get close in the head real quick while I've got him here. Zoom in, Robbie. One of the other things that plagues Superman in this line are his eyes. Now, Richard's eyes look really better than some of the ones I've seen, but you can see this eye, he's looking up a little bit more than he should, and this eye is close to being straight. Now, the one that Chapman Films sent me that I will show in just a second, my Superman's eyes are looking straight up in the air. Richard does have a little bit of a paint wear just on the front part of his head. And the blue that they have in here, Richard's isn't too bad. The one that the one that Chapman Films sent me, the blue is a little bit more predominant. We'll bring up that one. So you could just see in the two, this is the one Chapman Films gave me, which is now mine. Thanks, Chapman Films. And there's Richard's. So the one on Richard's isn't as noticeable, but the one that I have does have some thick blue streaks. There are the eyes on my Superman. You could tell that he is definitely looking up, especially this eye right here. It's almost like it's sunk into the back of his head. And maybe this Superman is still cold. Maybe that's why. But again, if I get both of them here, kind of see what I mean. Richard's eyes are looking just a little bit better than mine. But on the shelf, you're not going to notice it that much. And I'm not going to diss a free Superman, so I don't get him confused. I know that this is Richard, so he's going over to the right. Here's the one that Chapman Films sent me. And this is pretty good. Seeing the two side by side, there's not a whole lot of difference. Let's back the camera up here. We don't need to do Wayne's World Extreme close-up. Richard Superman's S is on pretty straight. Mine right here is tilted just a little bit to one side. Mine does suffer from loose ankle syndrome, and Jason sent me a message and said, hey, a little super glue will fix that. So it's not bad. He can stand on his own pretty well. But mine, now as I say this, watch, he won't stand. Yeah, there he goes. A little hot water trick is going to have to be done with my Superman. As you can see, he's got a leg that goes out this way and then bends back in here and jets out a little bit. It's an easy fix. That'll be fine. Again, I'm real happy to have this Superman. Something else that people point out on the Superman is this cape, that it's pieced together. And I'm curious why on these particular capes there is this square cutout piece. It must have been part of the mold that was added in later, but as you can see on the one Jason sent me, that mine's a little bit more noticeable than what Richard's is. You can clearly see where the flap is, and it almost looks like I could pop that out. It kind of sticks out, but Richard's is pretty well flush. The cape on mine looks like it's tucked down in, pretty close. This side, it looks like it's sticking up just a tad, but on Richard's it looks like all the points hit just perfect. So what I'm going to do, since we're not looking at my Superman, again, thank you, Jason, I want to bring up a few other Supermen to look at, to compare, and Richard's Superman is wanting to fall over here. So there we go. We got Superman standing. Let's take a look at a couple other Superman real quick. Again, we've already seen him once before, but here's a DC Universe classic Superman that was in, I don't know how many countless waves, but the same body, just repainted. Sometimes the hair was different. And you can see the collar on my Superman is almost up to his shoulders, where I guess you could say it's pinned here, but it's supposed to be pinned down, tucked into the shoulders up here. So that's one little thing, but now with my Superman, I will be able to kind of slide that one off to the side. And here is the new 52 Mattel, the DC Comics Superman, the Unlimited line. And it's kind of funny, this is where Superman started for Mattel, and this is where he ended. And I think you go from a really, really great sculpt into a sculpt that's okay at best. I think Mattel was trying some very good things with this Unlimited line. Some figures are fantastic, but the flag waver of this line should have been Superman, and I think he falls short. I think he's the weakest figure out of the series. Now, I like the size of this S. I think it could have been maybe a touch bigger. Somewhere in between these two, I think, would have been perfect. There's some nice raised features on here. Brand new sculpt, brand new... the buck body is basically the same. There's other sculpting been added on the panel lines. The S is raised, and then, some boot markings. But it's the same cape that has been used. I think this would have been a perfect opportunity to use this cape. Maybe tweak it just a little bit, and you could have this nice big flowing cape on this Superman. And I would think they would have been able to change the color of this cape to put on here. The two capes, let's bring up the other Superman here. We'll do it this way. I think these two capes are close to one another, but they've been resculpted up here just ever so slightly. But you can kind of tell, at least from the three that I have, where we began and kind of where we ended. I think Superman kind of downgraded a little bit each time that he was kind of reimagined for Mattel and for whatever purposes they were doing. Like I said, they had a great sculpt going on here, and then I think it slowly changed, and I think this is one time they should have went back to the drawing board and said, this is what we're using. And if they would have kept this style of body and sculpt and just changed the paints and then maybe retooled this one to look like the new 52, the new 52 Superman would have been a excellent looking figure. A couple more things I want to put up here with this particular Superman to kind of see how he works. Here's my Superman family and my Superman villain. Something, as I was trying to put Superman down here, the DC Superheroes Superman does not have holes in his feet like the other DC UC figures did. So there's a peg back here on Superboy's base I was trying to peg him in, and I couldn't get him in there, so maybe Superboy will have to go into the peg. And on my Young Justice shelf, I've been having this particular Superman stand with Superboy, but I just love the DC superheroes Superman standing with Superboy. I think it looks great. Lex Luthor is one of my newer purchases I got from the Ohio Comic-Con I went to. I haven't had a chance to review him yet, so I think this is only like the second time I've had him on film. So his review will be coming up shortly. But I wanted to be able to show my Superman family is small as it is, being that I'm predominantly a Robin and Batman collector. But this DC Superheroes Superman is going to be a wonderful addition to my collection. And here he is. Thank you, Chapman Films. And Richard's Superman is going to be leaving me. So sadly, I'll have to replace him with another figure. And there we are. And now I'm complete again. So here's the Superman that I can now call my own thanks to Chapman Films. And initially I thought I was just going to get Superman that is Richard's to review, and then I was going to send it on to the next reviewer to review. And I was going to have to just be without the DC Superhero Superman. But now I have one of my own. So thanks, Chapman Films, and thank you, Richard, for allowing this guy to be part of my collection just for a little bit. He is going to be on to the next reviewer, and then eventually he will make his way back home to you. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we've got more reviews coming up here on Rob's Rogues, so stay tuned. We'll see ya. Thanks for coming, Superman. It's good to see you doing well. You sure you have to fly right off to MJK Toys? All right. Godspeed, Superman. Thanks for coming. And thanks for being a part of my collection, if only for a brief time. Take care.